Welcome, ladies and gents, to another PWC review. Wow. That's right, we're reviewing WWE Smackdown. Friday Night Smackdown, and what a show it was, man. Guys, this was fantastic. You know what? Every other wrestling company and WWE company can learn from them. They know how to put on a show. Get the writers involved, help them pick up Raw, help them pick up NXT at the moment, and let SmackDown do everything that they're doing correctly. Like, that's what we want. But I'm not going to dwell on any of that sort of stuff. We had a fantastic show. Let's get into that review. Ladies and gents, don't forget to please click subscribe, click your notification bell, and of course, leave your comments down below. We want to hear everything that you think about SmackDown and my reviews as well. You know, critique me. Tell me I'm terrible. Like, Vas, your opinions suck. Tell me. I want to hear it. Please. Do it. And surprise, surprise, we kicked SmackDown off with a promo. Ha! That never happens. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But listen, in essence of how opening promos go when it comes to SmackDown and things like that, this probably was one of the best opening promos we've had on SmackDown in a very, very, very long time. Because, I mean, it was good. So good. Whew. Whew. That's all I can say. The exchanges between Cena and Roman Reigns were on point. The jokes they landed perfectly. Everything that needed to be said. The way this rivalry has been built at the moment, it's proving to be one of the more intriguing. You know, a lot of guys were like, "Oh, it's a part-timer coming back," or "Do we really want to see John Cena back in the ring?" And you know what? We do. We do. Like, I have found I've never been the biggest Cena fan. I respect everything that he's done. He's fantastic in his selling and his promo work and everything in ring. You guys know I love a good promo. So I take nothing away from John Cena. But man, oh man, am I excited for a long time to actually see John Cena wrestle again. The last time I was this excited to see John Cena is when WWE lied to us and told us it's a once-in-a-lifetime match. You know, that's the last time I got excited to see John Cena. I wasn't even excited to see him in the Firefly Funhouse match with Bray Wyatt. That didn't even excite me as much as this match is currently doing. So well done to them and getting us excited for this match. It's super stuff to watch, and I'm excited for it. I'm intrigued. The promo work from Roman was on point, rebutted everything that John Cena said, made a good point that, you know, it's not about, fighting one another or this and that. It's about a mutual respect. And the fact of the remains is that John Cena will not beat Roman Reigns. John Cena acknowledges that he's going to get a beating of his life, but he still just needs 1, 2, 3. I like that. We then got our first bit of in-ring action after that amazing promo. We had an IC title match, and we had Apollo Crews with Captain Aziz by his side, taking on King Nakamura and Rick Boogs by his side. Now, if you guys remember last week on the SmackDown review, I predicted that Apollo Crews' title reign will end. And I made that quite emphatic that I told you it was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen this quick. But we have a new IC champion in King Nakamura. I'll leave it to Boogs there. I keep saying that every week, but I never do. Anyway, it was a good match. I thoroughly enjoyed. This was probably the better match of Nakamura and Apollo Crews. And I said before, I think Apollo was much better in fighting for the IC title rather than defending the IC title. It almost felt like basically a carbon copy of what Drew McIntyre did with the WWE title. I really hated Drew's run as champion, but his fighting spirit to get the championship is one I thoroughly enjoyed more so. And I think it's a similar concept with Apollo Crews. I don't think he's out of the IC title hunt yet. I do feel he'll probably get a rematch because that's what WWE do nowadays, even though there is no rematches. they keep rematches. So it's weird little concept that they've got going. But yeah, this match itself was super. I enjoyed it. The fact that Aziz and Boogs got ejected from the stadium was great. It made more focus on how good Apollo and Nakamura are than having these stupid little distractions. And we got a clean finish, which is something very rare in WWE at the moment. We had King Nakamura, King Sasha, Apollo Crews for the victory. And yeah, like I said, there were some good spots. The frog splash from Crews that missed was great. The couple of teasers that we had in between that Nakamura could win, and everyone was like, oh no, it was a good solid match. And you know what? I feel, and I think this is the right time to say it. I'm going to say it anyway. I feel the reason SmackDown has gotten a hell of a lot better, it's not much to do with the in-ring action. The in-ring action's always been fantastic. A lot of credit has to go to Pat McAfee. He has brought in such an energy into WWE. Even his time at NXT, he just elevated it to a point where you just want to watch it. And I don't know if that's just his persona. I watched his podcast for the first time with Roman Reigns this week sometime. And he's got this sort of personality to bring out the best in people. And I'm loving it. I love his celebration at the end. I must mention that when Boogs came out and King and Nakamura was celebrating in the ring, him and Boogs were on the announcer's table rocking it out. And he brings this energy. And Michael Cole has pointed it out. A lot of people have pointed out that Pat McAfee, in my opinion as well, is the reason SmackDown is looking so good. He just brings this sort of energy on the commentary table that is brilliant. It kind of reminds me, and I know Jeremy's going to love me for saying this comment, but it reminds me when Booker T started doing commentary. He brings a sort of excitement to the desk, and it's something we haven't had for a very long time. I think there's very few announcers who have brought this sort of excitement in that, in WWE, and counting them just quickly off the top of my head that I can remember, I'd have to put Booker T in there. I'd put in JR in that commentary. Vince McMahon on commentary was super exciting back in the day. And of course, Bobby Heenan. Those are the four that I can think of. And of course, Bobby Heenan and Vince weren't around when SmackDown was there. So that's also just an interesting little fact. But yeah, I can't really think of other guys that have brought this much excitement. There have been good guys like Nakamura and Ranello was fantastic. But I felt like he was brought in for the sake of being an announcer, where Pat McAfee was brought in for being a fan. And I think that is the key difference when it comes to being a color commentator. Remember, Ranello wasn't a color commentator. He was basically like Michael Cole, and he's good. He is really good. And I'm sad that he's not part of WWE anymore. But Pat McAfee is a fan, and he announces like he's a fan. Like if I had to go be announcing, I would probably do the same job as Pat McAfee. Just mark out whenever I can and basically ignore all protocols when it comes to the desk. We then got the Street Profits taking on Alpha Academy, a rivalry that's lasted 2 months, would you believe it? It honestly felt a little bit less than that. They haven't wrestled together as a tandem for 2 months because of minor injuries and stuff like that. We had like the Live Loud match where Angelo Dawkins took on Otis, and that was cool. But yeah, we haven't had a proper, not Otis, sorry, Chad Gable. We haven't had a proper tag team match between the two of them. And, I mean, for 2 months of build-up, this was a little bit of a letdown. I feel like they've got a much better match in them. But with that being said, I don't think... I'm still waking up, guys, sorry. I don't think this was the end for this rivalry. I think they do have a good match in them. I think they just need to find it. There was signs of good chemistry between, Montez and Otis had some good thing. The suicide dive out of the ring, I'm glad Ford is alright because he missed it completely and landed on his head, which helped Angelo Dawkins pick up the victory over Chad in the ring. And look, like I said, we know the Street Profits are really good as a tandem. We know their tag team ability is great. You know what? Alpha Academy has come a long way. They're a good tag team. I'm enjoying it. I think Chad Gable is one of the most underrated wrestlers on that roster. I know Jeremy's thoughts on Otis, but the man is good, man. You can't deny the fact that he's a good, solid in-ring worker. Rubbing his belly ball is rubbish, but I don't know about that. But yeah, I enjoy everything about the Alpha Academy and Street Profits. I just feel like they need to have a proper chemistry-filled match. I think that's what's lacking. I'll be very intrigued to see if this rivalry lasts past SummerSlam. I don't think they're going to have a match at SummerSlam. I think they're going to have a blow-off match on the go-home show next week. And I think that might be the end of it. And the winner of that match will probably go on to face the Usos. Because I don't see the Usos dropping their titles to the Mysterio family at SummerSlam. I don't see that happening. Yeah, but let's see. Maybe we get Street Profits Usos. We then got an in-ring promo from the drip master himself, Seth frickin' Rollins, aka Edge Light. And yeah, man, this was probably one of the best promos Edge has. Seth Rollins has done in a while. And listen, for me to say that means something, because Seth Rollins is a god on the mic. He knows how to put anyone over at any point in time. He is so good on that microphone. And you know what? This was beautiful. From the video package of him comparing himself to Edge and showing how much he's better than Edge in every single the way. The only thing I think he didn't point out is the fact that Edge has won 2 Royal Rumbles. He's only won 1. So that's quite interesting to just pick out there, you know, that sort of thing. Has he won a Royal? Yeah, he did win a Rumble. I don't know if he's won one now. But anyway, my point is that Edge has won 2 Royal Rumbles and he didn't mention that. But he mentioned everything else, that he did a better cash-in. He had a better run as a trio in the Shield. He also made very, very clear that he won his WrestleMania match and became the Beast Slayer, where Edge lost his to Roman Reigns. A very clear, cutthroat promo, and it was brilliant to watch. I can't wait for Edge's rebuttal next week. I was hoping he'd come out and give us a bit of a stare down or something, but that didn't happen. We just got the Drip Master himself playing up to the crowd, and it was beautiful. Beautiful how the crowd kept chanting for Edge. They kept wanting Edge, and he was like, yes, I want him too, guys. Please bring him out. This is what I want. And I think that was fantastic. You know, mentioning his kids and mentioning all that sort of stuff was also great. Yeah, I love how intense and personal this rivalry got in a very, very short time. So well done to Seth and Edge for building up this rivalry to the way it should be and incorporating the stuff that happened many years ago, in bringing that in. You know, like, I love the thing that Edge should be thanking Seth, because if he had broken his neck back then, he wouldn't be able to push his kids on the swing. They would push him around in a wheelchair. I think that's fantastic. I love how they're bringing that back. And that's one thing SmackDown has done quite well, is they don't forget about the past. They make sure that they remind us what's happened in the past and bring that back into storylines. Raw sometimes, you know, twists the past, you know, but SmackDown is very full on acknowledging it, and I love that. I think it's great for SmackDown. We got some more tag team action next up. It was the Mysterios taking on the Dirty Dogs, or whatever they call it. Dogs of War, I think they're called, yeah. But anyway, it was a good match. Listen, it wasn't any different from what we saw last week with Rude and Ziggler. It's nice to see them getting TV time, which is great. I love the little distraction finish. It was something different because we didn't end up in Mysterio's losing. Instead, Ziggler and Rude did pick up the loss in the end, because Mysterio was smart enough to explain to Dominic that you can't get distracted from Usos on the Titan screen. Why has no one ever told anyone else this in WWE, you know? You don't need to be distracted. Ignore them. They're on the Titan time. They can't help. They can't hurt you. But yeah, so logic at least prevails from the wise Mysterio to the young Mysterio. He picked up the victory, pinning Dolph Ziggler or Bobby Roode actually in the end. And yeah, the Usos were a little bit shocked that the Mysterios managed to, you know, defeat the distraction thing. But it was, yeah, I can't really comment much on the actual match itself. It didn't last long enough. I think the whole point of this was to show that Rey Mysterio is teaching Dominic Mysterio not to give in to the tricks of the Usos. I think that is the main storyline. And you can mark my words on this one. You can say you heard it first on the SmackDown review of the 13th. And that is they've planted seeds for Dominic Mysterio to turn on Rey Mysterio. You know, this constant berating, let's put it at that, of Rey Mysterio on Dominic, always telling him, listen, you're not doing this, you're doing this, you need to concentrate this and that. Very fatherly, you know, advice. And you can see Dominic being more like a stubborn teenager, even though he's 24 years old. Yeah, it's they're planting the seeds, guys. It's gonna happen. And then just before we got our main event segment, we had Baron Corbin's final plea. And you know what? I know a lot of guys are hating on Baron Corbin right now. There's a lot of guys that are saying that WWE has ruined Baron, that he's terrible, that he's, you know, this and that. And you know what? Baron Corbin's character right now is probably one of the best things in WWE at the moment. The commitment that this man has to not breaking kayfabe and just proving like his commitment to the industry is fantastic. I mean, if you go on their TikTok account, you go on WWE's TikTok account, it's full of Baron Corbin asking the crew members for money, sleeping in the production truck. He getting fined for not wearing the correct uniform for WWE. He stole a wallet from a crowd member last week on Raw. And yeah, it's full of that stuff. And I love how he's playing up to it. There was even a meet and greet that they did on one of their live shows where Baron Corbin just pitched up randomly to the Raw side and was asking fans if they wanted a signed photo of him, just $1,000 per photo. And I thought that was fantastic. And then he came out to the ring and told, listen, he's got a phone and a credit card thing. He wants $1,000 from every single person in the WWE universe. And then we had Kevin Owens, which was fantastic to see because there was the rumors floating around that he was going to be released. Of course, being on SmackDown doesn't mean you're not going to be released. That could still happen. But basically came out and said, listen, man, you're disgraced. You can't ask people for money. Work for the money. Earn the money. Do yourself, get out of the stupid runt. And how can you ask Drew McIntyre for $100,000? Yeah, we proceeded to having a match. The stipulation was that if Baron Corbin beats Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens will give him $1,000 to help him. If he loses, Baron Corbin is not allowed to ask for money anymore. And we had possibly one of the best matches on SmackDown in a long time. And this doesn't sound right because it's Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin in a pretty much throwaway, random mesh-up match on SmackDown. But it was super, super entertaining. I mean, Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin are workhorses for WWE. And I know, again, a lot of guys hate Baron Corbin. But go look at his history. Go look at the man has always produced when it comes to matches. His character work might not be as great. I mean, his King stuff was, or before that when he was, getting fed dog food from Roman Reigns was, But he can bring it in the ring. He is such a good in-ring performer. And he's that guy that you want to face to make me look good for a title opportunity, He's never going to be the guy that's going to be in line for a title opportunity, but he's going to help those guys get to being a title opportunity-esque wrestler. And Kevin Owens looked like $1 million in that ring. And Kevin Owens does the same for guys as well. So in Bendo Facto, Baron Corbin looked like $1 million at the end of that match, even though he took the loss and he got a stunner afterwards as well, just for good measure. It was a good match and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought this was smart from SmackDown to bring these two together. Two solid in-ring performers. Two guys that have been really good on the mic lately. So why not throw them together? We then got our main event segment, and in true WWE fashion, it was a contract signing between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Now, you guys are going to probably just destroy me in the comments because I know you guys will, and I'll probably get hate mail for the next month, but I don't give a rat's you know what about this match. I don't like Bianca Belair. I don't like Sasha Banks. They're not even in my top 5 greatest wrestlers. They're not even in my top 5 average wrestlers at the moment. There's nothing for me to get excited about this match. And I am in the minority. I know this, but I just don't feel like this is a main event worthy match. I think their match at WrestleMania was all right. I don't see how they won an SP for this. I felt like the Roman Edge and Daniel Bryan match was a hell of a lot better. Hell, I thought that the Lashley McIntyre match was better. But anyway, that's just me. With regards to a signing, we knew how this was going to go. It goes the way it always does. Both guys come out, they talk a little bit, and then break a table. This one was slightly different, and it's a segment, again, that confused the living daylights out of me, is Sasha Banks wanted witnesses, and we had Carmella and Zelina Vega come out to witness Sasha signing, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. Why would Carmella and Zelina Vega align with Sasha Banks? Not, 6-7 months ago, Carmella and Sasha were having a huge feud over the WWE title. They had Reggie involved in all of that rubbish as well. And Zelina and Vega have literally no history with Sasha Banks whatsoever. So it makes absolutely no sense to me why the two of them would come out and help Sasha Banks. I get that they probably, the enemy of my enemy is your enemy type of bull. But all that does to me is tells me, okay, cool, Bianca Belair is going to win, and then there's going to be the 3 of them going against Bianca Belair at SummerSlam afterwards. It shows me how thin the women's roster on SmackDown is. That's what it really shows me in the end of the day. That they don't have the credible faces to help Bianca Belair out. They have to throw random wrestlers to help Sasha Banks for some unknown reason. And it makes no sense. When you have athletes like, Naomi, who's secretly been moved to SmackDown without being told to anyone, and you have Liv Morgan, who hasn't been on TV since Money in the Bank, you've got to wonder why they're not utilizing these guys. Shotzi and Knox have been brought up. Why are they not being utilized in a much better thing than rather than waiting for Natalya to get better to have a title match, And it kills me because I like to think WWE has a great women's division, and they do on a yellow brand, but on Raw and SmackDown, it is so thin at the moment that they're just struggling to even throw people together. I mean, you look at Raw, since WrestleMania, in fact, before WrestleMania, we've only had Charlotte and Ripley and now Nikki Ash coming into the fray. But just take a second to realize, is there any other women's athletes currently on Raw? Can you think of anyone? Can you think of anyone on SmackDown other than the 4 ladies you saw in the main event? Zelina, Carmella, Sasha, and Bianca? I know I mentioned a few, but the question is, have we seen them? This is my issue. It just doesn't... It feels like WWE is just throwing away 2 solid divisions in a women's division and a women's tag team division. And it hurts me because they have so much talent sitting on NXT doing nothing at the moment. Bring them up. Bolster this thing. Hell, I wouldn't even be upset if WWE gave an all-women's show. I would not be upset if we had another Evolution pay-per-view. Even if we had a weekly episodic women's show, I wouldn't be upset, because then at least I know those ladies are going to get a good and straight opportunity. Even if it's just a WWE Network show, it's something. It's something. There's so much talent that they have and they've lost because Vinny just doesn't care about women wrestling. But yeah, contract was signed. Bianca got her ass whipped by all 3 ladies, and then had a bank statement done with her braid in her mouth at the end. Cool. And that was the end of SmackDown. And yeah, good, solid show yet again. Very low, very, very little low points in the match. I think For me personally, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, but that's because I don't care about it. But it's not a low point in any sense because it is still quite a hyped up rivalry, so it's not going to bring the rating down at all. However, the Street Profits and Alpha Academy was probably one of the, I don't want to say worst, but it was one of the lower points, as well as the Mysterios and Dirty Dogs match, just because it just didn't last as long as I'd like it. But with that being said, we are going to the Vas scale. And you know what? Friday evening was a good time for wrestling. We had Rampage, which was a fantastic show. We now have Smackdown, which was a fantastic show. Not as good as Rampage, so it earns itself a 7.5. Again, it was good. One or two. The two tag team matches we had they weren't bad, but they're, I don't care about Bianca and Sasha, but that doesn't affect my rating. I know it's a big hype. I know people are excited about it. It was really good promo work, if anything. I like Sonya Deville getting angry. That was fun. But for me, the highlight of SmackDown has to be the Kevin Owens Baron Corbin match. I loved that match so much, and I don't know why. It was just great. And the two promos, the Roman Reigns, John Cena, and Seth Rollins promos were just chef kiss good. But that's all the time we have for you here on the PWC Smackdown review. Please, guys, check out our other content. Tell your parents, grandparents, lovers, haters, whoever you like to please subscribe and get our word out there. And we are looking for new presenters. So if you think you have what it takes, check the description below. We've got an email address there. Email us a 30 or 40-second video of you giving us some wrestling content. And if you have the chops, if you have the cajones to be a next presenter on PWC and you can host your own shows, we'll let you know. We want you. Till next time, peace and chicken grease.